How was the bond for you and maybe baby number one or both? Was it like an instant thing as well, or how'd that go for you?
It wasn't instant. It was, I don't know, maybe it goes back to the whole hunter-gatherer thing. The idea of like, okay, there's another protection in my charge
Hmm.
now. But I don't know, I have vivid memories of like Maya looking up, like the first time that maybe I gave her a bottle of Brit's milk or something like that, where she would look up at me and I realized, oh, Brit gets this all the time. And so like little moments like that that led to bonding.
Yeah,
But I don't think for either of them it was instant for me.
yeah, yeah. It's one of those things it's so different for so many people, and I think everyone, at least the way we talk about it, and general culture is like, well, if it's not instant, then what's wrong? It's like, well, no. So that's thanks for sharing about that.
It wasn't anything that I ever felt like, oh, why don't I feel it? I was like, I always had 100% confidence that it would get there.
Right.
And I felt like if I tried, that it wouldn't be the actual thing that it could be,
Yeah. Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So then tell me about postpartum.
So postpartum in the hospital was was not probably was why we went from our OB to the midwife with our second daughter. I mean, Britt wanted the midwife experience anyways, just someone who pregnancy and delivery was their only thing. But that hospital, just the whole experience was something that might have led to Britt's postpartum depression, or at least, I mean, because I realize it's a chemical thing as well, but it's also just, it was not, it wasn't even like it was unpleasant. It was just never comfortable, and never comfortable as in like, I don't psychologically feel at ease, at rest, at peace about kind of anything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely not saying anything against the staff. The staff there was great. Anything we needed, they were extremely helpful. It was just the setting itself was just rough. And we were there for 2 days, 2.5 days, and ugh, that's just too long. We wanted to be home. We wanted to have us as this new family unit in our home, our place. So that was difficult. Once we got home, being an English teacher, the idea of postpartum depression, I thought, okay, so there's baby blues, and then there's the yellow wallpaper, where if she loves this baby and isn't thinking that her psyche's crawling around outside in the wallpaper, then everything's okay. And like, I wish it was something that was talked about more.
Yeah.
The idea, and not talked about in like oh, let's hush hush, like the idea that no, this happens to a whole lot of people, and this is really what you should be looking for. It doesn't have to be postpartum psychosis, postpartum depression. The idea that, I mean, we have always been, as a couple, still our own people, and so when Britt didn't want to be, like, to have me out of her sight, needed me next to her on the couch to hold her, and that is really not who she has ever been. She's a very independent person. So the idea of you're a new dad was really trumped by the idea of, wow, what's life gonna be like? Because for the first few weeks, we were just thinking, oh, this is the baby blues, and she didn't want to eat, which cooking dinner at our house is kind of the main attraction of the day. She didn't want a beer, and that one was mine. I was like, oh man, it's been 9 months and you don't want a beer? So it's just like little things that I wish I had seen the postpartum depression test, the scale. I wish I had seen that before to know that, oh, so just like these mood changes. Not are you acting in this way? And I thought, oh, hey, all she wants is Maya. All she wants to do is hold this baby and feed this baby and love her. So we're good. Like, but no. And it was literally, she'd feel a little better in the morning, and it seemed to be 1 o'clock every day was this horrible time that the switch would flip, and she was just sad and had this dread would set in, this dread that something horrible was going to happen to Maya, that, things that beyond her control, things that would never ever happen to anyone, and dreading these just horrible things that are really beyond the pale of what would ever happen, and dreading me going back to work after, I think I was home for close to 2 weeks. No, I was home for 2 full weeks. And, as a teacher, I'm 3 minutes away at work, so that's not a big deal. And that's a pretty flexible schedule, and there's a lot of time at home there. But just still, like, the overwhelming dread that she would feel about me leaving, me going to school, her being at home. And then when we went into her doctors, the fact that she scored so highly on that scale, and I was like, wow, you scored highly. Like, I didn't see that coming, because of, again, the idea that if you're not trying to hurt the baby, everything is fine. Yeah. So yeah, it was interesting, because I was going into the whole experience with the attitude of, okay, I don't know how life is going to change, and that's going to be this beautiful, wonderful thing to have a baby and be totally at its beck and call and every whim. And then when this happened, I was like, I was not ready for that. I was ready to not be ready for a baby, to not know, to experience those new things and figure stuff out. But I definitely was not prepared for that.
So how did that inform the next pregnancy and birth?